Whoa.
Very nice, honey.
All right, this is a hot golden tidbit if you got money to burn, okay? Listen, I bought a squat suit because I was thinking, listen, I'm gonna go full West Side mode, right? Full West Side, chains, bands. We might as well get some squat suit as well. That way I can load up, potentially 1,000 pounds down the road in the old squat suit, right? Something that you could do technically with bands and chains, but the thing is, it's accommodating resistance. Therefore, you're not going to have the full 1,000 pounds on your core, on your back, on your traps the whole time, right? Might be 1,000 up top, but then you go lower and the weight gets taken off. So I thought, some of this geared powerlifting stuff is always a meme, always a joke, right? But then I realized, if I'm going to try every technique possible known to man, as much chaos as possible in the training sessions, I got to get the powerlifting gear as well. So I bought the squat suit and I put it on and I couldn't squat the way I want to. I can't squat. It's like you have to squat sumo stance, torso upright. You have to do a sumo stance squat with a squat suit. And I can't do that, especially because I blew out my knee back in the day with a wide stance with too much weight. So I'm staying away from that. But what it did make me think was, okay, well, first of all, if this squat suit makes it so that it keeps your torso upright in a sense, like that's the only way to really use it seems like, is upright torso. So what about front squatting? So I did the front squats. I don't know how much the suit is helping because I'm not in a wide stance, right? I'm not in that sumo stance because I don't want to. It just seems sketch. But I'll tell you this much right now. I got up to 545. I probably have more in me, but I've never racked front squatted 545. So it's not like it's the leg drive per se. It's the core, it's the bracing, it's the upper back strength. It's just nuts, absolutely nuts. Like I took a big breath in, Valsalva maneuver, unracked that sucker, walked backwards, got in position, all while holding that big breath because I knew if I let that air out, I'm gonna lose that rigidity of the core. And you know what that's telling me is, this squat suit is cool because I can get more pop out of the hole for the lower body, but my upper back, right, and my core and all that is working like hell, right? A way that you can't overload it really with anything else per se, because like I said, with bands or chains, you could have the same weight up top, but it's accommodating resistance. You're going to lose resistance and intensity on your way down with those bands and chains. Whereas this suit is just a totally unique animal. Now, I'm not saying that this is something you guys should do, but it's just a suggestion for you. If you got some money to spend, you buy a suit, you throw it in from time to time. Like I'm going to do it. I'm thinking of all the upright stuff. So, first of all, it was the first day. So the front squat was cool. I'll mess around with that. I did it with a box because sitting, it just seems weird. It's like you have to sit back with the suit on. So I just used my bench to squat on because, it's going to be a learning curve for sure. And then also like when I was wearing that suit, it's like, damn, I can't even hip hinge in this thing. Like I can't get my hips back. So I want to kind of mess around with like RDLs and see how that feels too, because that'll be the same thing. I mean, I'm talking, guys, it's like accommodating resistance, but in a whole new level, a whole different plane of existence. You understand what I'm saying? It's like chains and bands are cool and you can hold a lot of weight, but you're losing that intensity and that resistance halfway through the movement. With the suit, not so much the case. And again, this video is not going to apply to a lot of you guys, but I just think it's funny. I think it opens up new doors, things to try out, levels of intensity you can add on to certain things that you never could before. And ultimately, it's like this stuff's not dirt cheap, so you're going to spend a little bit of money. But I mean, if you're not a geared power lifter, you shouldn't be using it too often. And it's just something that keeps your training a little spicy. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about, guys. It's all about spice. Finding ways to instill passion and zest into your training that you might have lost throughout the, several decades. Some of you guys, I've been training since I was 11, right? I've been training for 23 years now. 23 years of training. Things get a little boring. Therefore, you got to go bamboo bar, got to go the chains, got to go Zercher harness, Zercher harness with a squat suit. I literally just thought of that right now, that I think that's going to be my next thing to do, is Zercher harness, West Side style harness with the squat suit. And hell, this might be the best thing ever, because I blew my knee out back in the day. I was doing a very wide Zercher, like very wide stance, wider than the rack. So sumo stance, Zercher pin squat with like 740 pounds or something like that. And I had a sprained MCL at the time too. So the combination, just total knee explosion, right? So maybe using the suit might be a good way to kind of slowly work back into the wide stance stuff. Because listen, guys, that wide stance is how you move total, the most poundages. And it's also the best way to work the adductors. And ultimately the adductors are one of the prime movers of the squat, right? So you got thick, meaty adductors. You could crush someone to death with your thighs. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a pretty cool feat of strength. So it's just something to take into consideration. Again, this video is not going to apply to everyone. I figured it's just kind of a change of pace, but I'm just having, like, my brain has expanded beyond belief of the things that the techniques and the methods and all that. I don't know if you guys watched my video yesterday, but my video yesterday, I had some things that I don't know if anyone's ever thought about before. Like if you're using chains, guys. So a couple days ago, I uploaded a video. I was doing curls with chains. And as the muscles fatigue, you squat down deeper so that less chains are coming off the floor, right? And it's just, I was overhead pressing. And it's like with chains, it's like, oh, it's getting really intense. Well, what do? You just sit, right, into a seated overhead press. Now you have only half the chains, right? Like ways to do drop sets. And what I found when doing that is like crushing standing, you burn out. You sit to do seated, you burn out in a sense. When you stand back up, it's almost different in the sense of like, I don't know exactly what it is. It's like it's hard when you're sitting due to core stability or something along those lines. And the strength curve is different, so that when you stand back up, you can really squeeze out an extra push press. Or it's just, guys, the tools are endless, really. The tools are endless, and that's just it. It's like what I preached about for the longest period of time with like last year when I was bench pressing. I was bench pressing and I would hit a wall, and then eventually I ordered just the cheapest elbow wraps I could get. So then I bench press, I hit a wall, I put these cheap elbow wraps on, I can hit 20 more pounds, and then I take the cheap elbow wraps off and I can hit the same weight that I just hit with the elbow wraps, but now I can hit it without the elbow wraps because I just fired the hell up on my CNS, right? And kind of the same logic with these like squat suits and all that, holding 545 for 20 seconds in the front rack position, firing the hell up on the traps and the delts and the core. And now, you go back and you do normal front squats, right? You're not gonna be able to use probably as much weight, but should feel a lot easier, right? Getting thick, juicy upper back, getting freaking high intensity techniques, tricking your brain to squeeze out extra poundages. And it's fun and it makes things spicy, right? And all of a sudden you got this new freaking plane of strength you never even knew existed, but it's because you have all these techniques and these tools and these gimmicks that you can throw on to keep things interesting and keep them spicy, but at the same time, just getting a freaking boatload of benefits, right? As long as the passion and the enthusiasm and the energy is there, you have endless tools, and you utilize those tools. You can train for an eternity and never burn out and keep making gains and, just shovel down calories, shovel down bagels, jar of peanut butter, liquids, drinking liquids. Guys, I'm excited for things to come, right? And I know this stuff doesn't apply to everyone per se. Like, well, I'm not going to buy a squat suit. Well, it's not like you necessarily need to buy a squat suit, but let me tell you something here. Have you ever thought about, for a short training phase, maybe just getting a skin tight pair of cheap jeans, squatting in cheap jeans for a couple weeks and then squatting without them, right? You might get a little more spring from like a teensy little bit, like the weakest squat suit ever, but a little bit more spring and stability in the adductors. Now, a couple of weeks of that, you've got increased the poundages. Now you do it with the shorts or something along those lines, and you're feeling a little stronger, right? It's just there's ways to manipulate your mind, your body to keep progressing and be enthusiastic about it and have a good time, right? Because that's what it's all about. It's about putting the LBs on the bar. And there's a million different ways to do it. And it's fun and it's exciting. And let me tell you something else here. Bamboo bar, guys, I kid you not. I've used the bamboo bar from time to time, but I went to a hardcore powerlifting gym the other week and I used it. I was like, dang, this is really stimulating the chest fibers. And it reminded me of, there was a scientific study that showed that the chaos, wobbly, instability effect activated the pectorals like 30% more than stable bar. And I could feel that. I could really feel that. So I figured, well, what the hell? Listen, this bar's been around for a freaking decade now. It's been shown to help with shoulder stability and rehab, prehabs, whatever you want to call it. So I got it, and I've been overhead pressing a lot with this bar as of late. And I went back to, I trained at a different just commercial gym, guys. And I'll tell you what, my overhead press has never felt stronger. And it's not even like I'm specializing in overhead press. I'm just doing the bamboo bar from time to time. And there's just something about really crushing those stabilizers and throwing that wobble effect into it. Not just firing up the upper back. I don't know what it is. But man, the gains are quick when you're training that way. And listen, I know this is a lot of gimmicks and a lot of tools, but I'm not selling you guys any of this stuff. These are just things that I've tried now, and you can see I'm having fun with the training and then the different tricks of degrees of switching up variations of exercises. It's fun. I can be intense with it. Enthusiasm is what's going to drive you to make the most gains. That's why a lot of times people hit plateaus. You stop making gains, you're stuck in a plateau, you're not enthusiastic about it anymore, and all of a sudden you just, it's the same weight every week. Some weeks you're even feeling weaker, and eventually people just give up, or eventually, they go from, trying to get strength to now all of a sudden, I just care about, aesthetics or something along those lines, or vice versa. So just mind-opening anecdotal data I wanted to throw at you guys.